Swayam Prabha. Digital India. Educated India.
Hello everyone and welcome back. In the last video lecture, we discussed about different kind of layouts, and if you remember, I showed you a lot of examples from the book design, where different kind of layouts has been used depending on different kind of contents and then user group. So, what is grid system? If you look at grids provides the foundation for well organized and visually consistent publication design. But the question is, why grid is important? In what sense it helps for a designer in terms of organizing the content within the layout? So if you look at different aspects, grid helps to organize things and information in a right fashion. It gives order to a composition. It creates visual interest. For example, if the grid system has been used and then things are placed in a right manner, most probably it will be easier for users to navigate and then look through different contents depending on what he wants to see and then find within the spread. It helps to guide viewer's eyes through the document, which makes for an easy comprehension. And then another important thing is grid is used to create continuity throughout the pages. Just imagine if you have each pages in a different layout. Don't you think it will become very chaotic and confusing? So that's why understanding grid is very important. This is a typical book spread where you may notice different divisions, which is basically a grid system. For any publication, text is an important part, but the text must work together with many other elements in the design. The primary way a designer organizes all this information is by using certain grid system. Uniformity, if you look into how the things has been divided, so it is one of the significant benefits of using grid system where you can create things in a very uniform fashion. It helps to create a visual rhythm that holds everything together. Besides being appealing, it also creates consistency, and this consistency fosters recognition and improve memorability. So if you look into this grid, and then the areas has been highlighted with blue. So for example, this is foot margin, this is back edge or inside margin. If you look at this is space, this is head margin. Then you have column, which are now you have a thin and thick column. So here the columns are not equally divided, but it depends on the content and then layout. Designer pick any width of the column as per the requirement. You have folio number right here, the page number. You have this outer margin, which is very small here in this case. Then you have image. So there are multiple things which goes into this grid system. Now there are different types of grid, and if you look into basic types, there is a manuscript grid, there is a column grid, modular grid, baseline grid, and then hierarchical grid, and there is responsive grid. This is not a very exhaustive list. Different designers define grids in a different way, but these are the very basic one which anyone should know and understand. So this is a typical columnar grid where you see different columns. For example, in this page you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 column, and then in the right side page the column has been increased. Now in between you have a gutter space, the space which divides two column. Then if you go back to the next grid system, which is modular, basically it is in terms of module. So here if you look at this image where the whole square has been divided into small squares, which is acting as a module. Now the benefit of this kind of grid is it gives you immense power in terms of dividing the space. So this can be translated into these many layouts. Now the basic is this small square. So many times you just combine top line, top square, and then make this as a one unit, and then this is another unit, and this is. So this kind of grid system is very efficient when you want to bring variation within the layout, but at the same time if you want to create consistency or a rhythm across the pages, and it will not deviate from the basic pattern which is going to be followed across the book and publication design. Clear? Now the baseline grid. So baseline grid basically start with the baseline. These lines which is visible on the screen, or here you can see, right? So literally it is the baseline from where it starts. So all letters sit upon this baseline, and this will be followed across the pages and across the layout. And within this baseline, we have discussed some of this concept in typography, if you remember. So the curve letter, most of the letter, this goes below the baseline, and this is done to visually correct and then create a balance between different characters within the font. Now this is another example where grid becomes very responsive. So you will see different kind of, you can, for example, if you're carrying a digital watch, you can play with different kind of arrangement on the landing page, and it follows different kind of grid system. Here it is, for example, in the second, it is more of a hierarchical, where the central element which is on the center will be in the bigger size, and then the element which is on the periphery becomes very smaller size. Or here it is in a very modular basis, where different modules has been taken for different kind of activities. In first one also it is hierarchical, where different point size decide the emphasis and then importance to the different element. So if you look at a responsive grid is a design framework that adopts layout and content dynamically based on the screen size or device being used. It is an important part of responsive web and publication design, ensuring that design looks appealing and functional as well. So it can be seen, for example, if you have a content which has been created, which is going to be viewed on desktop, laptop and smartphone, so then your grid system should be in such a manner that when you are looking on different devices, it should adopt and then change accordingly. This is another example of modular grid. This example is there to give you an idea of how this modular grid can help you to create consistency. At the same time, it can help you to create balance. So this kind of templates you create when you work on a publication design and when you design each pages. So here the basic unit is these rectangles, and then when these rectangles are combined, sometimes it becomes 2 column, 4 column, or 3 column, and accordingly this breaks happens, and you can create a very interesting layout. These are few more examples to look into, just to make you understand how image can be used effectively to create emphasis, and then can help you to divide the page into column and modules, and then accordingly you can place the content and create the layout very powerful and impactful. So this is another way to look into this. For example, here the text is in the right corner bottom, and then main emphasis has been given to the image. In this, the focus is on the text. Now text has came in the center point. So this is how, using the same image, how you can change the layout and play with the grid system to create lot of variations within the layout. And this is not the only way. You can, when you have a multiple images, so accordingly you can, depending on how you want to communicate the story or narrative with your users, you play with the grid system. Now the consistency. Consistency is another very important aspect in design, and specifically in publication design, where if you are not following the consistency, most probably your design will become very chaotic, and it will be difficult for you to attract user or make users to go through all the pages. So this is one example where you will see a consistency has been maintained throughout different collaterals. So this was a conference I got a chance to work on for the visual branding, and then we were supposed to create multiple collaterals for the conference. This is the banner which is visible. Now within banner, if you will see the placement of the text, placement of the logo, the orientation of the text, everything is followed across all the banners in a similar fashion, and that's why you can see there is a consistency, and because of that the whole design will look very rhythmic. And it is not like just the banner, but this was also translated into iCard, and then food coupons and multiple other collaterals as well. You can also notice the consistency has been created using this triangular shapes, which is getting repeated in all the collaterals, right? So then remember, consistency is going to help you out in terms of creating a very a rhythmic flow within any publication design. This is another example from the same conference where you see another set of posters, but you may notice that same repetition has happened here and here in all those places. This is a poster, and this in the right side, this is the book cover, and then invitation card. So consistency is getting created by the use of design elements like color, shape, and then also in terms of layout and placement of the text within the composition. All right then, so we will stop here. I hope now you will have a basic understanding of print and publication design. With this session, we are also ending this course. Though after this video lecture, there is another video on Leno printing process, which is called Leno cut printing process. So do not forget to watch that video, because it will give you a very interesting insights about the printing techniques, the basic printing techniques, which is there since the beginning. And so just to summarize, from this whole course we started with understanding design, And if you remember, we have also formulated our own definition of design. And I'm sure you are every day you are going back and then seeing it, and then most probably you are bringing some changes to your definition. And by this time, when we are concluding this session on this introduction to graphic design, I'm pretty sure that your definition has changed drastically. So if you remember, we started after definition, we looked into multiple examples. Then I took you through the fundamentals of design, which is elements of design, and then Saurav took you through principles of design, and he also covered Gestalt principles, which was followed by typography, where we looked into details of typography, different aspects of typography, different attributes through which we can just play and then create typography very, very much expressive and powerful in terms of creating impact and communicating the messages. From typography, we moved on to identity design, where Professor Saurav has taken you through multiple examples and then different principles and different guidelines through which you can create stunning logos and stunning visual language if you are working on any project on branding and identity design. And then it was further we looked into this print and publication design. So the whole course was about understanding how these different facets, this different part of the graphic design, which is a big umbrella, how these things comes in and then help to create a very strong message, and also helps designer to communicate with user in a very effective manner. So we will stop here, and I hope you have enjoyed this course. I'm looking forward to hearing from you guys in terms of your experience. And so till then, goodbye and best of luck for your future.